Hear ye, read all about it. Sunday papers.
Got it.
You're in your bathrobe. You got a dog. You're petting him.
Me?
He fetches your paper. He brings it to you.
3, 2, 1, and we're plugging in.
Read all about it.
Oh, Jesus, listen. Read all about it. Read all about it.
This is like the Footprints poem where the man says, God, how come when you know the Footprints poem.
Yeah, it's like I walk alone. Wasn't Jesus carrying
He's like,
someone?
you walked beside me and there were 2 sets of footprints in the sand. And then when things got bad in my life, there was only 1 set and you abandoned me. Why did you do it, Jesus? And he said, Jesus goes, I was carrying you, fuckface.
He's just, you know what? He's vindictive.
Yep.
He's vindictive. He's petty. He is insecure. He always wants to get credit.
He's jealous of other gods. It's like the first commandment or the second.
Jealous. He's furious.
He's furious that you would even like anybody besides him.
I am telling you, the best is to watch Christopher Hitchens talk, especially debate people of Catholic faith particularly. But go do yourself a favor if you're doom scrolling. Just put in Christopher Hitchens into TikTok or Instagram, and he is so witty also.
He's got a great book called Christopher Hitchens Explains It All that I read many years ago.
Oh, he's so smart.
Yeah. By the way,
regardless of what you think, what a giant brain.
Speaking of books, and I should say to people, if my voice sounds hoarse, I shouldn't say flu. It's a bad chest and neck and throat cold.
He's dying.
Everyone's
sick, by the way. Everyone.
And I'm getting on a red eye tonight for a 26-hour flight to South Africa. 12 hours, 13 hours to London, then another 13 hours to Cape Town. And then we get on another plane for another hour and a half to George. 3 fucking flights.
Yeah, I know. It's too much, man. And you're like, maybe you have the bird flu. That's trying to make a comeback.
Well, that'll be good because then if the plane goes down, I jump out, I fly.
That's true.
Yeah. You know?
The aviary condition, sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm bringing a book that I've always meant to read. I'm going to try to read. My goal is to read the entire book on the plane, which is called
Interesting. Fascinating. By the way, he did not, for your listeners, he did not freeze. He did freeze, but he's live.
Freeze. Oh, and what's that book I'm going to read?
Oh, my God. All right. While you're getting that, I'm going to tell the listeners the joke. You know the old joke of these 2 old guys in a retirement home. And one goes, hey, I've got this this new pill I take for memory. It's amazing. And he's like, what's the name of it? He's like, it's a flower. And the guy's like, a flower? Is it like a tulip or is it a weed, herb or so? He's like, no. Oh God, it begins with an R. And he's like, Rose? He's like, that's it. Rose, what's the name of the medicine? That's what just happened.
It's called The Alchemist. Have you ever read it?
No, but I've heard lots about it.
I think it's one of those books that, there used to be those.
I think it was assigned to my girls in school.
Yes, it's definitely a book that young people have. My son had a very powerful connection to it when he read it. And it's been sent to me by people. It's very accessible. It's like, those Richard Bach books, like Jonathan Livingston Seagull and those. It's new agey. It's a little silly. If you're
I'm going to get a book. Keep talking. I'm going to get a book.
I think if you're cynical, you go into a book like this and you don't take a lot out of it. I think it's like being hypnotized. If you believe that you can't be hypnotized, you will not go under. And I believe that I need a spiritual awakening
Jay-Z
right
did
now.
it. Sorry, what are you talking about? I'm back.
Jay-Z did it. I need a spiritual awakening. I'm going to journal. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to hike. and I'm going to read this book, and I think I'm going to come back. I'm done right now. I've been going nonstop since July with this special and doing too many podcasts, and I've been on the road every single weekend, and I'm honestly dropping balls left and right like I never have before.
I can't believe you're here today. You're leaving tonight. It's crazy.
I'm leaving in 3 hours.
Both of us are here. I've been busy for the first time in forever. But
catch everybody up.
I will in a second. But listen, this book seemed interesting. I know nothing about it, but it struck me as interesting, and I'm going to give it as a gift. I haven't given a book as a gift in a long time.
Because it's not a good gift. A book is an assignment.
To us, All the Beauty in the World. I heard kind of the idea of this book, and I'm like, that's all I need. So one line I'll read from the back is, the author's brother was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he found himself needing to escape the mundane clamor of daily life. So he quit the New Yorker, where he was a writer, and he sought solace in the most beautiful place he knew. He became a security guard at the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Yep. The New Yorker did a piece about him.
That's probably where I can't wait to see what it's like. Speaking of reviews, the girls and I watched Gladiator 2 last night. I thought it sucked.
I think a lot of people thought it sucked.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Gladiator is so, you realize, and I can't believe Ridley did both, Gladiator. I'll catch people up. So briefly, we did a roast of the year. I think we've talked about it on Netflix. Jeff Ross hosting. We had Sam Morrell and Mark Normand and Hannah Berner and Miss Pat. Ms. Pat and Tim Dillon also. It was very good. It's a sprint. It's like 40 minutes or something, and been editing it all morning. And
you guys taped it in 40 minutes?
Nope. Oh no, about 3 times that length, and not a good taping. And now we're getting, believe it or not, goddamn notes, because we're pretty harsh. We're getting notes from Netflix, so that's what I've been dealing with, literally, even during the setup of this Zoom.
Who is going to be the one that people are talking about? Nikki Glaser was the one they talked about from the Tom Brady roasts, and I guess Hinchcliffe as well. Who are they going to talk about from this one?
I don't think there's a standout as much as they'll be like, whoa, that joke. You know, they'll talk about jokes, I think.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff does a thing we used to do on The Burn, which is we used to call it Too Soon, but it's an in memoriam of people we lost this year. So we're getting notes about one of the people who died this year because their estate apparently is kind of litigious.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's more complicated than that, but I'm not allowed to say what it is. But just know it's not Richard Simmons. All good with him.
Good. Where did you guys record the special?
In a very cool venue in downtown Los Angeles called the Bellwether, where Mikey goes often to see bands.
Oh, so it was intimate. It wasn't like a giant theater.
No, it was intimate. We made it even more intimate. We we ignored the stage and moved our stage, built one in the middle of like the floor. It's kind of like a stage with a floor and then wraparound balcony, and we put in the middle of the floor.
Oh.
Actually,
right.
As I described that, next year, let's say we get to do it again, and if it could be bigger, it would be great in the Palladium. Would be amazing, actually.
Any celebrities show up for the taping?
Yeah. Diplo.
Uh-huh.
So we quickly, just like I need a Diplo joke, quickly, we know that's not short for diploma.
Ah, that's good.
And then Seth Green and a couple of others. Yeah, there were some people there.
Sweet.
Well, that's the problem. It was kind of an industry crowd, a lot of friends. You know, a lot of people have off and they're going to parties, and they treated this like a party, and they came by. And for all of you in the rest of the world, other than stupid Los Angeles, we have, as Greg can tell you, the worst crowds in the world.
Worst crowds in the world. I mean, I should say, with the exception of the Comedy Store, which I really love those crowds for some weird reason.
When it's real people, it helps. Yeah.
The Improv has really good crowds, the Laugh Factory, but when you go into rooms outside of that, it's very... I I don't know. Some New York comics don't even like the main rooms out here, but maybe I've just figured out how to work them after all these years.
There were a lot of comics, for instance, that came by, and friends of the show and friends of our staff and friends of the performers. And as you know, even if you were there, well, you're a very generous laughter, but you have to remember to make it audible, just
exactly.
like me. Because what we'll do is if it's a killer joke, we'll nod and pat the guy next to us like, shit, that was a great joke. But we won't make noise.
Right.
So we are sweetening that motherfucker with the crowd noise from the room. But sometimes we would do pickups, and it's the second time they heard the joke and shit.
Wow.
Anyway,
all right.
December 27th. So I guess 5 days from now. The night before, I guess this is the new version of a lead-in on television, so to speak. Squid Game premieres at midnight. I guess 2 nights before our show, but it's the day before our show.
So they'll run promos for your show before Squid Game starts.
It's not even that. What it is when you're in the Netflix universe, you'll see us on the page. Like if you ever go to
Got
them,
it.
you know.
Yep. All right. I like it.
Sure.
Well, I'm very proud of you. Congratulations. I know you worked very hard on it, and I'm glad that it turned out well.
Yeah, I'll try very pathetically to find some jokes later. We're doing some of the topics. I'll see some unused jokes if I can find them.
Good. Or maybe you can use the one that was mine that somebody on the panel used.
Yeah. Do we want to say which one that is?
No.
Okay.
We're going to do predictions on the next episode, which we think the next episode will be...
Is it just because you don't want to say the N-word here? Oh, God, he's dying.
January 5th, maybe the next episode, if I can manage to get one done from South Africa, because I'm going to be there for 3 weeks. We already pre-recorded next week's episode. And we're going to get to the predictions that we make every year.
Oh,
and then...
still time for that earthquake.
I had some good podcasts in the last few weeks. I had Sam Morrell on. I had Ari Shafir on. I had Tom Papa on. So check those out on fitzdogradio. We need some songs, people. It's a new year, and we are light on theme songs. So if you have any musical ability, and when I say that, the bar, you know how the bar, they say bar is low? There's no bar. There's just a door that's open, and you send your song right through it. I
don't even think there's a door. Just show up. It's like a big field. Just even think about it, and you're there.
As long
that's a great logo there, though.
Think of punk rock meets a nursery rhyme. That's what we're looking for.
I love this logo. Bruce.
Logo's nice. Bruce Wise did a very cool logo of us, and we are stealing Santa's toys. Very cool.
People are pissed off, and rightly so, about the koozie thing. Yes, I've been busy. I apologize. I'll send 2 koozies to people I've kept waiting over a month or so.
And the T-shirts are being handled by a professional company. Apparently, I ordered one just to have the experience of what's it like to order a T-shirt. How long does it take? How hard is the website? The website is such a piece of cake. You go to fitzdog.com. There's a link, and you can buy it in like 30 seconds.
How do they lick all those stamps so fast? I'm amazed.
Tons of choices of color and logo. There's the Take It Ish. There's the Sunday Papers one. And then there's another one. So go to fitzdog.com. Get yourself a little late holiday gift. Maybe something for the New Year's.
Yeah.
The song this week, Joseph Bernard.
For the predictions episode, you can wear it.
Yes. Right. Joseph Bernard wrote a very cool song. I dug that a lot. Thank you, Joseph. Few corrections. This is, I have a feeling most of the fan mail for this pod is directed at Greg to correct his Fitz facts. Let me correct this imbalance by offering some criticism of Gibbons. You ready, Mike?
Oh, all right. I haven't read this. Go ahead. I can't wait.
Mike was all over the place in the latest episode, 12/8/24. Greg actually showed a great deal of patience. Yes, I do. Dealing with the constant tangents and distractions. Here are just a few examples. Looking up the name of Scorsese's editor.
All right. Who wrote this? Ryan?
Confirming that Scorsese's editor had won an Academy Award.
Okay.
Finding a list of alumni from an art school in New York no one has ever heard of. Searching for a Jeselnik joke. Taking a call from Gibbons during the show. All of these interrupted the flow of the show, and the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Mike, are you medicated?
This is interrupting the show.
If not, get on that. If you are, it might be time to talk to your doctor about making some adjustments. The ADHD was raging this week. Annoyed Ryan in Chicago. Mike, your response.
The amount of patience it took to sit through that letter. I would just like to forward to Ryan all the mail we get where it's like, just use your phone to look up the name, God damn it. And I thought, listen, I own all those. Except maybe the art school. He has me on that one.
Well, we used to have Chris Denman, who did a very, very slow job researching stuff that we couldn't think of.
Well, you know how hard the dark web isn't as fast as Google.
Well, that's right, because it's being tracked by so many FBI.
Yeah, exactly.
Groups.
Yes, he has to go through 6 VPNs just so he's not traced.
I think the breaking point might have been when you repeated something I had just said.
That was the best.
That was, I think, the point where we said, all right, maybe Mike's looking down a little.
The Scorsese editor worth it. The Jeselnik joke was hysterical, and I'll end by saying, if you ignore a call from Gibbons, you have to deal with that for like a week.
Yes.
So, not worth it.
Zach Coleman said, Greg loved the show as usual, especially the corrections. And I have one for you. You guys were discussing the theme song having a Paul's Boutique vibe. Then, Greg, you said, check it out. And Mike correctly said that was not Paul's Boutique. But then he tried to tell you the song you're thinking of is So What You Want off the album Check Your Head. But you were actually talking about Check It Out, the opening track from the album To the Five Boroughs.
He nailed that because that is exactly what I was thinking until just now. Not the Five Boroughs. I was thinking of Check Your Head.
It's so funny because I love the Beastie Boys, and I have to admit, like, I never spent a lot of time listening to the first album because I just thought, that was their like frat stage, and it's kind of done. It's amazing.
Well, they brought rock to the equation, you know?
Yeah. But it's so much more sophisticated than I thought it was. And I've seen some music videos of them playing tracks off that album, and Jay-Z and a bunch of like top rappers were sitting in the crowd like grooving to what they were doing during their first album. So I just think about those guys were in their 20s and they break out of the New York scene and actually get as the first white rappers. Maybe I shouldn't say that, someone's going to correct me, but the first white rappers to achieve, Billboard success, to get the acceptance of the, blacks.
No, totally. Did you see the one where Ad Rock tells the story? So Def Jam was created, in Rick Rubin's NYU dorm room. And the Beastie Boys knew Rick. And I think it was in the dorm room. And it was Ad Rock was in there. And he just kept getting these submissions now, Rick Rubin. And so Ad Rock would listen to them. And they were mostly like DJs sending them in and stuff. And Ad Rock, out of a huge pile or a couple of days piles, goes, this guy's pretty good. And it was LL Cool J.
No.
Yep.
LL Cool J was after the Beastie Boys?
So we're going to get tons of corrections, but I know the Beastie Boys were there. I'm forgetting Rick Rubin's first, but I do remember Rick Rubin really trying to sign Public Enemy, and Public Enemy went out and warmed up for the Beastie Boys, I believe. Anyway, send us your corrections. People know a lot more about this than we do. Except we know, personally, one of the original Beastie Boys.
John Park wrote in a couple. You pronounced it with a long A, as in Thames. Correct pronunciation, Thames. I think we've been corrected on that in the past.
And it's Kate Schellenbach. I thought you were going to pick up that little thing I said. Their original drummer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Yes, Kate Schellenbach, who's our friend from the Ellen DeGeneres Show.
One of the coolest people ever.
One of the coolest people ever. Was the drummer, and then they got a manager who kicked her out. Yeah.
They talk all about it in their doc.
Further correction, initial news reports said Ellen DeGeneres was flooded out. Subsequent news reports said she was not affected by the rainstorm.
Well, she was just glad to be wet. It's been a long time.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shot fired.
And finally, it's Union Square, not Market Square. I think I was talking about San Francisco. Either way, it's closed down. Nobody's there. Tour dates, if you want to come see me live, Janesville, Wisconsin at the Comedy Cabin, January 17th through 18th.
Why don't I read this? This is exhausting.
Thank you.
He's going to be in Nyack at Levity Live, Raleigh, the Improv, Milwaukee, Improv, Vegas, Brad Garrett's. Fontana, California, February 22nd, Stage Red. Then it's going to be Atlanta, Hollywood, Hamilton, Ontario, Toronto, Pittsburgh, Boston, Tampa, La Jolla. Go check out all the dates on the website. What's your website?
Tickets at fitzdog.com.
You got it, pal. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Game Time. Oh, you guys know about Game Time.
Support comes from Game Time.
Support does come from Game Time. I like the Discover button. So here's what we're going to discover in Los Angeles. The Broncos are at the Chargers. Oh, I'm going to that. That's today. I forgot. But you can go for $47, and I bet it's going to drop. And then Billie Eilish. Well, I wish my daughter got this goddamn price. It's tomorrow night. It's $329. I don't know if she's on stage with Billie, but I'm paying that much for like a fucking fourth of the price she paid. So there, Game Time's great for that. You go on, they have guarantees. You get to take a look at the view from your seats. They have super deals. They have the lowest price guarantee. They have event cancellation protection.
And this is for music. This is for sports. This is for theater, stand-up comedy shows, and it allows you to wait it out. Prices come down. You track it. You get alerts. Boom. You swoop in. You grab yourself the best possible deal and go out. Go see something live. It makes you happy.
Look at this. They even have like the American Ballet Theater here in addition to Billie Eilish and the Chargers. And my favorite thing is it's all in pricing. So the price you see is what you get. You don't have to do math like times it by 3 because that's what it's going to be with all the charges. It's ridiculous. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PAPERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PAPERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Greg, what time is it?
Game time.
It's also time for the front page. Do you have a paper?
I can get one.
Nope. Well, I have a book. I have wrapping.
Oh, that's so perfect.
I have packaging.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
All right, I love it.
It's an unwrapped gift. It's a yet-to-be wrapped gift. Here we go. Okay, front page. Luigi. The man accused of killing United Healthcare's CEO has been charged with murder as an act of terrorism. Prosecutors worked to bring him to New York court from a Pennsylvania jail. Luigi Mangione, already charged with murder in the December 4th killing of Brian Thompson, but the terror allegation is new. Then there's a paragraph explaining terror law that Greg put in here, and there we are. You're going to do a joke as I look up and try to find.
According to this description, did you read the description of what terrorism is?
I did not.
Okay, under the New York law, such a
Scares
charge
me.
can be brought when an alleged crime is, quote, intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policies of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, and affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping. All right. But isn't Rosa Parks terrorism then?
She was a terror. That bus had to stop. Everyone missed their connections.
Right.
Are you kidding me? All right, I don't know.
I think they should do. There was a Speed. There was Speed 1, which was with Sandra Bullock, where the bus could not stop. And I'm thinking, what if they did, since everything in Hollywood now has to have a black character, and that movie had no black characters. What if we put Rosa Parks in part 2 of Speed?
Yeah, I like that. And it foils out, like, everyone's frustrated by her. The police, the terrorist, the passengers, the driver.
They're like, fine, you don't want to sit in the back? Get behind the wheel. This thing
Everyone's
doesn't
like,
stop.
Rosa, time and a place. This is neither. All right, I don't know which Luigi jokes were done, but so I can't read a lot of them at all. But everyone can breathe easy. The United Healthcare assassin has been found without a wedding ring. That was one early on. They suspected him in McDonald's because he was the only customer in the Pennsylvania McDonald's without diabetes. Was Giovanni Spaghetti Lamborghini already taken? I think I can't read the other ones. I don't know if they're going to be cut out of this show or not.
Everybody wanted to fuck this guy. I mean, there's so many women that want to fuck this guy.
Hey, on your woke comment, when you watch Gladiator 2, if you do, it's also long. I think it was made during maybe the height of wokeness, because like all of a sudden there's a female gladiator. I'm like, get that the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, there was also Game of Thrones got a little bit like that as it went on. Definitely House of Dragons got very diverse.
And what's his name? Denzel Washington annoyed me. He made choices. He annoyed me to no end. Like the gravity of those actors, including Russell Crowe, but especially the other ones in the original Gladiator, it's non-existent in Gladiator 2.
Is Denzel a great actor?
He's very Denzel, which I can say, like using the specific actor's name, about a lot of great actors. Like Al Pacino is very Al Pacino, let's face it, right?
Yeah.
But, he has to be your cup of tea. Same with Al Pacino. There's some people, I'm sure, that don't like Al Pacino.
I think he's one of the true, rare leading men. Like, he really, truly carries a movie.
Denzel.
Yes.
Then don't see this.
Okay.
He seemed like a weak supporting character in terms of the gravitas.
I mean, him in Training Day was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was. I wish he brought that type of energy and drama to this. He was like light, and I think he might have been. He was at least partially gay, I think, which is not a plot point at all. Don't worry. All right, Miami. The Porsche Design Tower in Miami, built in 2014, is one of 35 luxury beachfront properties along the coast that a recent University of Miami study has found to have sunk by up to 3 inches into the unstable sandy earth. 3 inches might not seem like a lot. It is to me. But this is much faster than most experts anticipated. If you like footballer Lionel Messi, he paid $9 million for an apartment in the Porsche Design Tower, and the view of the skyline is now a few inches lower than it was a decade ago. The collapse of this 12-story apartment building nearby, which killed 98 people, caused geologists to keep a close eye on the buildings in the area. Sinking could be a sign that the rising sea levels are accelerating the erosion of the property's underlying limestone. Much of South Florida is built upon limestone, and this problem is not limited to just the Miami area.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the men in Miami can relate to something losing 3 inches and a disappointed wife.
Also, there's the younger Miami man who can relate to 3 inches disappearing. Know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
I know what you mean.
That's anal sex right there.
I get it. I think the sea levels are rising from all the tears from people's spouses dying or kids coming down to the condo to live permanently.
Could be oral sex, too. Just getting back to my joke. Meanwhile, cut to Lionel Messi crying like a little baby because his building is sinking.
Yeah.
And then the whole world watching Lionel Messi cry, that baby.
Why is that your thing with Lionel? His crying?
Well, there was when he got injured and had to leave the World Cup, he cried. That's all they kept showing. I also know he's the most beloved, maybe most beloved sports figure in the world. So I just like calling him a crying baby to upset people.
You know what I was thinking the other day?
I actually like him.
I love him, and we got a chance to see him play in Barcelona, which is his home team.
Wow.
And but it really is amazing because some people go like, yeah, Messi's the greatest player of all time, and some people say with Ronaldo. Other people go back and say Pele, but
no, some people are fucking pounding their dashboards right now. Also, don't forget the Argentinian Maradona.
Right. But I was
and
thinking
others,
to myself,
by the way.
what sport,
white guys,
what athlete is there in history that is without a doubt, unquestionably the greatest? And I think Wayne Gretzky is the only one in any sport that is that. I mean, if you talk about tennis, obviously you can look at
it's debatable.
Djokovic as having, the most. He's got the most Grand Slams. He's probably got
NBA.
the most wins.
I get it. It's debatable everywhere, and also he has undebatably the best. The great one is so much better than GOAT.
Yes.
And Tom Brady, but then you're like, all right, what about positions? How many different you can't compare them to defense, never mind other offensive positions.
Right, yeah.
But no, the Gretzky stats are just dizzying.
It's crazy.
But
and
you'll have Pittsburgh people talk about
Lemieux.
what's his name? And they bring up a lot of asterisks, of course.
And then
all right, bear. A 50-year-old man is dead after a bear fell out of a tree and struck him in what appears to be a hunting accident in Virginia. According to the preliminary investigation, a group of hunters chased a bear into a tree, and as the group retreated from the bottom of the tree, one bright hunter shot the bear. As the animal fell, it struck him as he stood about 10 feet from the tree.
Well, this actually reminds me of something that happened to a friend of mine. This is a true story. He woke up one morning and there was a bear on his roof. So he looked in the yellow pages and there's an ad for bear removers. Called the number. Bear remover says he'll be right over. He shows up. He gets out of his van. He's got a ladder, a baseball bat, a shotgun, and a mean old pit bull. The guy's like, what are you going to do with that? Guy says, well, I'm going to put this ladder up against the roof. I'm going to go up there and knock the bear off the roof with the baseball bat. When the bear falls off, the pit bull is trained to grab his testicles and not let go. So the bear will be subdued enough for me to put him in the cage in the back of the van. He hands the shotgun to the homeowner, and then the homeowner goes, what's the shotgun for? And the guy says, if the bear knocks me off the roof, shoot the dog.
I love it.
It's a true story. Happened to my next door neighbor.
This hunter, I'm thinking it wasn't the first time a bear pounced on him. You know what I mean? He's gay. These gay hunters out in the woods.
You're not out here to hunt, are you?
I think it was Shane Gillis has the routine of how gay hunting is. You get dressed up in costumes. You go sit in little hiding spots and just whisper to your buddy. You just whisper all day as you sip some warm beverages out of a thermos.
He has a lot of routines about things that are gay.
Yeah.
He says being good at sex is gay. That's my favorite.
Being a Navy SEAL is cowardice also.
Yeah.
I love that one. Drones. Oh, man. You put a lot of... How much of the story needs to be read? Everyone knows there are drones over New Jersey.
There's drones everywhere. That's all we need to know. They're all over the place.
All right, I'm going to look up drones jokes. Go ahead.
They have in L.A. One of them picked me up the other day. I was going to the Improv holiday party, and it picked me up. It was white, and it charged me $52 to go to the holiday party. It was a Jaguar. Have you seen those?
And you're calling it a drone?
Isn't it a drone?
Oh, right. Sorry. There's a name for
Waymos.
Waymos.
Waymo cars. They are literally drones. They are driving through our. They say there's 200 of them in L.A. I swear to you, there's 2,000.
There's so many on the
I
west
have been
side.
at intersections where I see 3 of them at the same time. What are the odds that would happen in a city this large?
Right.
And we saw one pull up. Me and my wife were going to a party, and these 2 kids get out of one, and they're like 14 years old. And my wife goes, "Oh my God, how was it?" And the kid said, "It was filled with pot smoke."
No, I love that. All right, the drones jokes, whatever. They're I can't. Sam Morril has a great, and if Netflix cuts this fucking joke, I'm gonna freak out. He has a great one that I'm not gonna say. It's on the show. You can watch it.
All right,
but
good.
get this. So the other day, I'm at a red light, right, and I'm on the scooter. So I cut to the front of the line, and the Waymo's next to me. So the Waymo's there, and it's a really busy intersection. I'm in Koreatown. It's at Olympic and Crenshaw, like super, like 8 lane. No, like 12 lanes intersecting. So like from each direction. So light turns green, and I know Waymo's program, it probably has to check like 15 boxes before it goes. You know what I mean? Is the light green? And it doesn't go. So I start to go, and I'm like, what does Waymo know that I don't? And then, of course, in the crosswalk, I see, way to the left, a crazy person with his shirt off and his pants undone, just dancing in the crosswalk, walking. And I'm like, what is Waymo thinking? Because Waymo has to think about that.
Right.
Waymo has to take it in. It has to know that the LA law is, even though this freak is about 40 feet away, he's in the crosswalk, which means legally you're not allowed to go, even though it's a green light. But what it led me to, and I'll keep this short, but it's definitely a stand-up routine, is Waymo, of course, knows all the world's history. And he's like, in Sparta, that culture killed these guys. It was much easier. The society ran so much better. If your kid was born a little mentally ill, right in a fire. If you just got rid of the people that were going to cost society money and drag them down.
So Waymo will eventually just start running these people over.
There's that. There's also what I love, especially for woke LA, is the difference between racism and data. So like when Waymo sees an old Asian woman with gloves and a mask driving a Honda Civic
alone,
it gives her wide berth. That's what Waymo does.
Yeah.
Because statistically, they are a special type of driver. And that's what Waymo's going to cough up, and he's going to cough up. Also, he sees some juiced up car with tinted windows and running lights and maybe a Glendale car dealer. He's like, Waymo's going to be like, Armenian driver. They're very aggressive. And he's gonna slow down around that guy. And this will just be data, not racism, folks.
Right. I like it. I think it's a stand-up. I think the St. Patrick's Day comedy show is March 15th. Mike Gibbons will be on stage, as always, and I think that you should do that routine.
Speaking of which, it knows it's St. Patrick's Day. It sees this fucking face on top of my shoulders driving home at that hour. It's like, stay the fuck away from that Mick.
Yes. If you see TCP on the back of a black Suburban, go around. That motherfucker is going to stop in the right lane, in the middle of the right lane, to let a bunch of Kardashian-looking women out on La Cienega to go to a nightclub. The worst cars to be behind in L.A. are the giant TCP Suburbans.
The Waymo can hear. If it sees an Escalade and on the screen inside it's playing Scarface and it's blasting hip-hop, Waymo just fucking drives into a wall. It's so terrified of that car, it's getting the hell out of its way.
All right, let's do some entertainment.
Here we go, entertainment. All right, Greg, thank you for loading all these stories, by the way.
Of
It's
course,
the least I can do is
course.
read them
Yeah.
poorly. A judge in Brazil has ordered Adele's song Million Years Ago to be removed globally from streaming services due to a plagiarism claim by a Brazilian composer. He alleges that the song plagiarized the music of his 1995 song Mulheres, which means women in Portuguese. And the composer is suing for lost royalties and seeking also $160,000 in moral damages.
Oh.
He also wants the songwriting credits for the samba track, which he believes the Hello singer copied.
$160,000. That translates to so many Brazilian reals that their economy literally can't cover it. If he tried to put that in the bank, the Brazilian economy would implode.
Oh no, the bankers would be like, "Be real. We can't exchange this amount of money. Get real, please. Por favor," or whatever. Por favor, whatever the Portuguese version is. I like the phrase moral damages. Like Biden should get moral charges. I think Biden should be charged morally for pardoning Hunter, and don't even get us started on Trump's moral charges. Moral damages.
All right, put yourself, and somebody said this to me, because I was saying he should not have pardoned him. If one of your daughters was going to go to jail for 10 years.
They just walked in, my two daughters, and I even right now, I still have to pardon them all the time.
Would you pardon them?
You know what happened, I think? First of all, it's bad. So hear me out. Now you're a better listener. I'm on your side. I disagree with what happened, and I don't think Biden should have done it. He's an old guy. He's not. Odds are he's not going to be around in 2 years, and he's probably like nothing after what he's seen. It was after he lost, and he's probably like a little bit like nothing matters, which most philosophers would agree with him. But it does matter for us and for the moral damages of the country. And I don't think you can look around and be relativist about it, like with Trump or any of that stuff. Because, he's probably justifying in his mind compared to this pure outlaw that just beat, my administration. What the hell difference does it make?
Yeah. Well,
but you were getting to a more familial thing. I get it.
It's a tough call. It's a Shakespearean question. It really is. It's big. Is somebody going to do a version of Trump as Shakespeare?
Well,
as a Shakespearean play?
Gladiator also touched into that a lot. A lot of movies are now, I think, but it touched into Rome was a dream. Can we get back to that dream? Because it's all corrupt now. The Senate's corrupt. The leaders are corrupt. The Caesars are corrupt. Can we get back to this dream that was a beautiful republic that was a beacon of the world? So there's a lot of that in both Gladiators, actually, but this one.
All right. Yeah. My other joke was what about the WAP video stealing all the images of those fat asses from Brazil? They should be due some money for that. By the pound. They should pay them by the pound.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Good point, Greg.
Popeye,
do you want to do this story?
We could skip it.
Well, very briefly, he's going to become public domain. That's what's happening because it was so many years ago, and then the copyright expires. So Popeye, but what I can't wait for is all these canceled characters. Like when's Pepe Le Pew, the predator skunk? When is he going to be free to use however you want?
Now that's good. I like that take.
And Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse, but it's only the early versions of them are free for reuse.
Can you imagine if they went and they started charging everybody who had a tattoo of those guys, of Mickey or Popeye? A lot of Popeye tattoos.
Oh, yeah, but isn't like Betty Boop, right? Like, aren't there a lot of like the old school ones? All right, let's make America flourish. I don't know why I thought of a Betty Boop tattoo. All right, this is a rough story, so just don't judge too hard. But a Florida man beat his child. Child's alive. Florida man beat his child for nearly 30 minutes over a missing couch cushion. Okay. I'm just saying it's the holidays. It's stressful. People have limits. And I just want to say that I'm not in any way validating or like vindicating this guy. But if my remote control goes missing one more time when my kids are home from school, I might be heading in this direction.
And they can hear you right now, right?
No, but I'll repeat it after they close the door on me because they don't like my voice. But I'm going to have a talking to them later on it.
Well, I mean, we're talking about cushions here. That's, you come home from a long day of not working, as this father probably is, and you need to sit down. And this is like the opposite of a whoopee cushion. There's no laughs. There's no laughter produced by this 28-minute beating.
Also, my remote control makes a lot of sense. Like it slips between what? It slips between couch cushions. What I'm wondering, how is a couch cushion missing? I think I would be closer to losing my mind. Like that would drive me more crazy than the remote.
What's the closest you ever came to hitting one of your daughters?
Probably when I hit them.
The closest you came was when you swung and they ducked.
Olivia and I have a thing. I go, I need you to know how sorry I am, and she knows what I'm talking about, but I grabbed, and the best part of this story that makes me feel better, although it shouldn't, is I was really angry at her, and she was young. That's the worst part. But I grabbed her bicep, and I 100% on purpose really squeezed it hard to hurt her. Like, I was not only dragging her, but I was angry, and I made sure that it's so crazy to say, but it's nuts. I made sure it hurt her. Like, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I'd like to say it was just rage and I didn't know I was just grabbing her, but that's not true.
Oh my God, so many times, because I was raised by parents that my mom used to smash. My mom was so fucking fast. She was like Spinks, just like quick jabs. Not jabs. She would slap, like an open hand slap, but it was constant. You never knew when it was coming. Because sometimes you would, like she got a school report and then would just walk up and look at you and then slap. And you'd be like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and then my dad, obviously. But so it's kind of a miracle that I never hit my kids because I was kind of raised with it.
Read all about it in Dear Mrs. Fitzsimmons.
That's all in there, but
it can still be delivered by Christmas. I think it still can.
That's right. That being said, she never hit me hard, and I think it was just a gut reaction, and so I never held it against her. But it was a different time. Everybody's parents did it back then.
No, when Hannah and I were getting to know each other, and she has 2 daughters. At one point, we're like, how are you with your kids and discipline, whatever. Anyway, I confessed that story, and it truly was a confession. I was so ashamed about it. And she just looked at me, and she's like, hold my beer. Like, she was just like, I've done so much worse when I've lost my temper with my kids. And I'm like, oh, I got to keep her.
Yeah.
All right, let's make question marks Florida. I'm going to quiz you, Greg. Meanwhile, I have to find the goddamn story. Is it in here? Shit. Okay. Company debuts vending machines selling ammunition in 3 southern states. Vending machines selling ammunition will now be in grocery stores in blank, blank, and blank, a move that has generated mixed feelings from officials in those states. Each machine sells ammunition for various firearm calibers, including rifles, shotguns, and handguns.
This is like one of those laws, though, that like gives you a cooling down period. Like, as soon as I can find somebody who can break a dollar bill, you're fucking dead, man.
It is a little bit like that. You're right. All right, go. I can remember what they are, but I'm going to copy and try to look for this thing.
All right, obviously Texas.
Yes, ding, 1. I got him right here.
Obviously Mississippi.
Weird. That's the one everyone's going to miss. And you know what? They might not be that easy. They might not be that easy. Texas, of course. Then there's 2 that you should get. I don't think you'll get the 3rd.
Wait, you're saying Mississippi was not right?
No, not right.
Okay. I'm going to say Florida because we love Florida.
I know. You'd think that. Man, maybe this isn't as easy. Well, keep guessing, everybody.
Let me try. I'm going to think a hunting state. I'm going to go north a little bit up to...
No, I threw you off. I shouldn't have thrown you that off. These are pretty...
All right, Louisiana... and Arkansas.
No. Oh, I always forget Arkansas. It's Texas. Think of also cocky states that love guns. Florida, of course, comes to mind, but it's not. And I think, by the way, it's spreading. No, Tennessee's this is a horrible segment, it turns out. Tennessee's a great guess. Jesus Christ, are they gun crazy?
Georgia?
Yeah, I would have said that too. Oh, I went to the end of the article. Here is, he plans to expand into more states, having received offers from, get this one, California, Florida, Hawaii, and Colorado. But anyway, the original three, getting back to our game, was Alabama and Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Oklahoma is okay to buy guns from a fucking cigarette machine.
All right, so what should we go on to? Oh, it's getting the hour's getting late.
All right, let's get down to this day in history.
You got it. Here we go, pal. All right, this day in history. Okay, this is even blinder than usual, so bear with me. I had to look up. I didn't have the right date. December 22nd. Okay. Yeah, let's try this. Puccini. Giacomo Puccini, who shot the healthcare CEO. I'm kidding. Giacomo Puccini, the Italian composer, legendary. He was born on this day, December 22nd. In what year? I'm going to give you 101 year window, 50 years, give or take.
1750.
No, actually, you're way off. 1858.
What do you mean I'm way off? I'm off by 8 years. You gave me 100 years.
It wasn't 100, give or plus or minus 100, plus or minus 50.
Oh, I see. All right.
Well, this is a little, that's too easy. I was going to say Barack Obama signed "Don't Ask, Don't Tell." That was a mistake. Let's see here. No, I don't like that. The Brandenburg Gate in Berlin was reopened, signifying the reunification of East and West Germany. When did the Brandenburg Gate reopen? Give or take 3 years.
So this is different than the wall coming down.
I'm going to give you inside information. I thought that's what it meant also, but now I see it's the same thing, and I was there.
I'm going to say 1992.
What did I say? Give or take 3 years?
Yeah.
God damn it. 1989.
Nice.
I went there in the fall. I remember, I think it came down in October, and I was in Salzburg. Keep in mind, no computers, basically. No home computers, no cell phones, and everyone in Austria heard the walls coming down. The run to the train station. Everyone just left their bed and breakfast. That's what they were called then. They left their bed and breakfast, and including me, and ran to Berlin, and it was amazing.
Amazing! I didn't know that. I didn't know you were there for that.
Yeah, and then I found
you're like Forrest Gump.
I know. At one point, this German kid was there with a sledgehammer, and he goes, "Can you help?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so he and I whacked the wall with this giant sledgehammer.
No shit.
Yeah, and then I gave the pieces of the wall to everyone in my family for Christmas.
How do I know you for 40 years and I didn't know that you knocked down the Berlin Wall?
Yeah, and the pieces would come off and you'd see the graffiti, like they would be on one side. And then the other side was all asbestos. and that was my gift, which I did not know was asbestos. And then Uncle Johnny asked about them. And remember, no computer, but the New York Times wrote an article about how the whole Berlin Wall was asbestos.
That's great. I love it.
Okay, here's a good New Yorker one. You ready?
Okay.
Your old friend Bernard Getz, an American electrician, shot 4 African-American males on a New York City subway, alleging that they were mugging him. The incident triggered widespread debate about race and crime and vigilantism. Give or take 5 years.
83.
When did famous Bernie Getz, who was
1983.
sitting... When?
1983.
You nailed it, man. 1984.
I knew it was when I was in high school.
For those of you who don't know, I mean, you've seen the scene in movies a lot now. Even the Joker did it, I believe, the first one. He's just a quiet little psychopath, just sitting, but he carried a gun with him, and they picked on him allegedly, I think, and allegedly, and they picked on the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wasted some fools.
And I'm not saying he was right or wrong. I'm just saying that even they would admit they picked on the wrong guy. All right, we're going to do one last one. Let me find a juicy one. There have been good ones. I don't think you know much about Chet Baker.
By the way, here's a trivia for
or
somebody.
Jane Austen.
For somebody that wants to comb through the show, at some point I picked a pretty large booger from my nose during this podcast. I'm not going to say when it was.
Egg.
If they can find it and send it to me, I will post it.
That's a good Easter egg. All right, I'm going back up to a boring one. Here we go. There's Argentina to keep it all tied together. But no, we're going to go with Dr. Zhivago. David Lean's adaptation. By the way, great movie to watch this time of year with all the snow in Russia. Dr. Zhivago is the adaptation of Pasternak's novel. It had its world premiere. Again, David Lean, Omar Sharif, Julie Christie. One of the highest grossing films ever, especially adjusted for that time. So, give or take, I'm going to give you 6 years on either side of this date.
1960.
No, you know what? We're ending on a high note. 1965, you did it.
Oh, man. Unbelievable. What do you mean high note? I nailed almost all of them. I was on fire
I know,
today.
but it was perfect. It was like from one friend to another. I gave you, not 5 years, I gave you 6.
Yeah, I love it.
It covered it.
All right, obituaries. Nobody died this week, thank God.
But tune in a couple of days. Yes, we do obituary section in the roast of 2024 on Netflix.
Oh, so you basically took our podcast and turned it into a special for Netflix?
Jeff Ross and I used to do them on The Burn, our show on Comedy Central. He called it Too Soon. No, we're very sincere. That's the nice part of what we do.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the funnies and cheer up. We don't have to cheer up.
Hold on, buddy. New section. All right.
We're just already here. All right, so last week's caption was a clown, and he's standing behind a sedan, a car, and he has his hands on the back. There's sort of a notation that his hands are moving a little. He's looking at the camera as if he's up to something no good, and his legs are pressed against the back of the trunk and maybe his crotch.
I mean, I think the illustrator is trying to show us that he just slammed the trunk and he's looking suspiciously behind him, but it's open for interpretation. We just know his hands have moved the trunk, have touched the trunk.
Yes.
Okay.
Brendan says, how many of Lizzo's dancers in the clown car? 1.
Oh. That's a good fat joke.
Ron Dvorak said, a lot of clowns come out of a car. I come in a car.
See, it could also be interpreted that way. That's how I interpreted it. Can I tell you mine before we go on anymore?
Yeah, please.
Even though we weren't assigned this?
Yeah.
I'll give you leaded. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Having nothing to do with a clown.
Brian Doherty says, if you think we can fit a lot of clowns in our cars, you should see what we can fit in the trunk.
I like that. Probably dead women.
Jeff Langa said, how did you think clown cars were made?
Oh,
that's not bad.
He's having sex with it, and the car is going to give birth to a clown car. I get it.
Steve Sturr, one less pair of fucking elbows in that little fucking clown car.
Yeah, right.
Ira in San Francisco, after each dreaded, uninspired performance, Patches slams his dick in the trunk just to feel something.
I can already tell you that's the winner. I can already tell you that's the winner. We'll read the rest, but no one's going to believe that. No, beat that, I mean.
Tim
Believe
Hughes. Hello, my name is John Wayne Gacy. Would you like to come to my house and see my skull collection?
Good.
Bad.
Yeah, killer.
Matt Usher says, what are you staring at? I hear the last clown that put his junk in a trunk has a steady gig in Vegas.
All right.
That's one of those ones where it's just trim.
The last clown that put his junk. Oh, right. Sorry. I did. Yeah.
This is where
I like a good Carrot Top reference.
This is where I stash my hopes, dreams, and a few kids.
Yeah.
Nathan Brown said, I need the keys again. I shut the trunk on my funny bone.
All right, Nathan.
Kurt says, you have the right to remain silent. Never mind. Because clowns are silent, I guess.
No, did he just lock a cop in the trunk a la
No,
Tarantino?
I think he's being busted by a cop.
Oh, okay, yeah. The cop's just like, that's too much to deal with?
Yeah.
Got it.
Brian Woodhouse says, hey, Pagliacci, go get your fucking shine box.
All right, yeah. Trunk, bodies in the trunk.
Jack says, not a magician by trade. Chuckles also made women disappear.
That's pretty solid.
That's very solid, Jack. I appreciate it.
Jack, you would have won on most weeks if it weren't for Ira. Was it Ira?
Yeah, the koozie this week is going to a gentleman named, where is it?
Might not be a gentleman.
Ira in San Francisco. No, I think Ira is a Jewish gentleman.
Well, who knows? It's San Francisco.
Yep.
But Jack, you have a better name than Ira. I think everyone can agree on that. So just count your blessings there.
All right, next week's caption is, it's a little bit conceptual. So I thought, by the way, that was a tough caption. I appreciate you guys digging in. It did not lend itself to easy jokes, which is kind of what I was going for, because sometimes we put something out and it gets a lot of the same punchlines. This one will probably get very few of the same punchlines. It is
I like this.
It is done by our friend Jason Love, who does comics for us. It is an exclamation point sitting on an armchair reading the newspaper, and that looks like a band. And then a woman, question mark, is standing up, and she has I think, one of those feather dusters. Is that a feather duster or a bouquet of flowers?
It seems, even despite the high heels, that she's a housewife.
Could be a housewife.
This is a typical domestic scene.
Yes. She looks as if she is berating him, and he looks a little bit like taken aback.
The other thing, Greg, is anyone writing these who doesn't see them?
Well, yeah, I think most people that experience our show do not watch it on YouTube. Almost all our viewers
that's not the question.
People aren't seeing. How are they going to see it then?
Well, if they're taking the time to mail it in, doesn't by I mean, like, you don't think they're going to go look at it and write a caption?
You mean look at it on the YouTube?
Well, isn't it on the website?
No.
Oh, good Lord. Sorry,
Should be,
people.
right?
Sorry,
From
people.
now on, we're going to start putting it on the website so you guys can look at it.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't give us so much credit, Mike.
No, people are seeing this. I guess there's no way they're writing that stuff, like the clown with the trunk. Okay, let's move on.
I'm going to Instagram it, and we're going to put it on the website from now on. All right, and then meanwhile, Hagar the Horrible and Lucky are standing there. This is one frame, and there's a tavern, and the tavern owner says, "Don't come back," and he kicks this guy out the door, and he lands in a woman's arms, and she says, "Okay, my expectations aren't what they used to be," and he goes, "Nice to meet you," and Hagar goes, "Nice catch." So the implication is that this woman is going to rape this man. He's drunk, and he's just come out of a pub, and she's grabbing a stranger.
That's how we read Haggars. We work backwards from who's raping whom.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we got
You think the algorithm will excuse the word rape because I so eloquently used the proper whom?
Yes, I think we
good.
buy back a lot of points with whom
Okay.
because you used it as the object in the sentence.
Yeah. That's what I was
Leroy
going for.
is sitting in his office, and he's talking to an African-American gentleman. He's in a cubicle. Leroy still works in a cubicle, even though he's like 62 years old. And there's a woman walking away from him who's got a skirt suit on and high-heeled shoes. And Leroy says to the African-American gentleman, Leroy, he goes, I don't mind having a woman for a boss. I've been married for years. That's so fucking old school. That's so fucking like Mad Men. What a Mad Men comment.
Yeah, it's very 50s marriage.
Yeah, this must be one of Bunny Hest's old ones. And then Leroy's eating dinner, and he says to Loretta, this really is a feast for the eye. You certainly don't want to eat it.
She must be a terrible cook.
She must be an
right?
awful cook. I mean, it just seems to come up a lot. And now she's wearing a dress. She's got a shopping bag in her hand, and she's smiling, which you don't see a lot. And he's sitting in his chair, and he goes, do you ever say no to the dress? All right.
That's a recent reference.
That's a current one.
I
Yes.
think. Unless I'm ignorant, like is
No,
say yes.
say yes to the dress. It's probably only been on for 10 years.
No, I know, but is the show referencing an old phrase or something? Anyway, here we go. We are on number 7 of Dilbert, and I went back to find this, and I saw what I put at 6 last week. I have not read this one, but I can only assume they're getting worse, and I also think they left some zeros off. This has to be like the 7,000th funniest Dilbert, the way we're going. So it looks like a manager maybe has his coffee cup and his glasses on, and he's bald. I don't know who this guy is, and he has glasses. And he's at a screen. Somebody's projecting boxes. And he goes, oh, I think it's a map of the office, because he says, my cubicle is surrounded by loud idiots who make it impossible for me to concentrate on my work. And he's pointing at the cubicles on the screen. And then the smack your bitch up guy with that hair with the 2 pinnacles of brunette hair, he's sitting at a table in the middle frame, and he goes, did you create a presentation on why you couldn't do the presentation you're supposed to be doing? And the guy off screen goes, yes. And then the third frame, we see the guy walking away, and I guess the smack your bitch up guy goes, wouldn't it have just been as easy to create the actual presentation? And then the guy goes, I'm hoping to use this one more than once. So he got him.
Well,
and you know what? This got us. We can't have that time back. We cannot have that time back.
as they have, look, you've read 6. This might be the best one out of all of them, just in terms of like, all right, I get the attitude, I get the point of view. There's a joke coming from a guy who hates his office.
Yeah, boy, they really don't like their office environment. The culture
No.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, let's move on.
All right, so now Blondie's coming home. She's got arms full of packages. And by the way, she is set
The legs
against
are still out. The legs are
the
still
legs
out.
are still out. She's got on winter boots, but the calves, because she's carrying the bags, her calves are that much more accentuated, pushing themselves against his weight. Set against the backdrop of white clouds and white snow, her stunning ruby red jacket and sequined blue skirt comes up. There's a wreath on the door, and Dagwood is inside looking out, and he goes, the only difference between Mom and Santa Claus is Mom uses the front door. He's talking to the dog. So he sees his wife, the bearer of one of the hottest bodies in comic history and one of the loveliest faces. He sees her as Santa Claus. She brings gifts to the house, and he's a child.
Interesting. Why isn't he saying to the dog, you see her? She uses the front door, but I'm going to use Mom's back door tonight. It's a dog. He won't get it.
Yeah.
He's going to be at the foot of the bed, and it's going to sound a bit different tonight, but he can't really know what's going on, except that he's hurting her. What?
Yeah. You know how you fuck dogs? That's what I'm going to do to her tonight. From behind.
You know the male dog next door that you hump all the time? Yeah, it's going to be very similar to that.
Look at that package.
My daughter's here in the living room.
Look at that package. No, I'm not talking about the one she's carrying.
I'm trying to think what my daughters have heard since they got home, but it definitely included the rape.
Yeah, rape was right out there.
Yeah.
All right, listen, you wanted to
but
stop.
Proper use of pronouns. What?
This was a short podcast because I have no voice. I'm getting on a red eye in 2 hours, and you are editing a special that will premiere on Netflix on December 27th called
Toasting 2024.
Well, hopefully it's
I
a big
think,
hit. And
I don't
you
know,
do it again next year.
I don't know what it's called. By the way, that's one of the notes we're getting is on title and stuff like Torching 2024, a roast of the year.
I think it should just be Torching 24, not
Torturer
2024.
Being tortured at the end of 2024. We cut a lot of Aaron Rodgers jokes. That I do know.
Oh, no kidding.
No, not because of notes. Just that we had to cut so much for time.
Yeah. All right, and don't forget, support our sponsor. Game Time has been a sponsor for a long time and for a reason. We believe in it, and we seem to do pretty well. I guess we get a lot of people using it because they keep advertising with us. Be one of them. Get $20 off right now. Create an account, redeem code PAPERS. Also, don't forget Janesville, Wisconsin coming up, Nyack, New York, Raleigh. We'll see you guys out there. Mike, anything you want to promote?
Yeah. Have I mentioned this roast of the year 2024? Let's watch that. It's coming out on the 27th.
Okay, good. All right. Thanks for listening. See you on the other side.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Try to
Merry
pause
Christmas.
and be present if you can. Something Greg and I are struggling with how busy we are, but we're going to do it, and we're going to take in this holiday season before it blows past us. Merry Christmas.
Take it in, and
let it out. Is that the phrase?
No.
What?
Take it in and
take it easy.
Take it easy.
I'm not fast on the uptake.
Hear ye, read all about it. Sunday papers.
Got it.
You're in your bathrobe. You got a dog. You're petting him.
Me?
He fetches your paper. He brings it to you. Your wife, she left. You're drinking. There's whiskey in the coffee cup. And we're here to cheer you up. Hear ye, read all about it. Read all about it.
All right, take it easy.
Take it easy.